Hello there and welcome back to a new video. So migrating to a country in the West or any first world country has always been a huge hurdle for somebody belonging to India or any third world country for that matter. The only people who ever migrated to the West or the first world countries were people who absolutely had no other choice. That are people who are taking refuge in these Western countries or seeking asylum, or people who had a lot of means to settle in another country or move abroad, or the ones who already had family and friends there, so the transition would be easier. And the third category of people who probably ever migrated were the ones who got a lot of scholarships or really high-end job opportunities abroad because of how well they did in their academics or other jobs and so on. India has always faced this unique problem where it had a surplus of highly skilled, highly educated people who just couldn't find any opportunities within the country for developing their career path. And that is mostly because of the lack of investment in the right areas, or how the government never invested in building the infrastructure or the manufacturing sector in this country. For the same reason, a lot of people had to move out of the country anyway, just to get the kind of life or career that they have invested in. It is their high quality education. But that was still a very rare thing. But all that has changed now. It has become much easier for individuals to get student visas and to come to these Western European universities to pursue a degree. And they usually take a huge amount in student loans just to come to these countries and pursue their higher education. When I first heard about this from my friends and family members, I was very surprised. Like, why would these universities invite so many international foreign students just to come and study there? And that too just for a fee. There is no aptitude test, there is no entrance exam, nothing. If you pay the amount, you can go and study there. Nothing comes that easily. And what happens to these students after they finish these courses? So that is the most important question that we should be asking, and that is what we will look at in this video. The Indian diaspora or the skilled Indian migrants are driving growth in industry clusters like Silicon Valley. Over 70% of software engineers in Silicon Valley in the US are foreign born, and nearly 75% of all high-skilled migrants reside in the US, the UK, Canada, and Australia. And wherever these high-skilled migrants move and settle, the economy of that area has been shown to significantly improve. But in the very recent times, there have been a shift in the patterns of migration. Lesser people are going to the UK, the US, Canada, and Australia, and Europe is becoming the most favorite destination for them, and that is by policy. Key players here are Germany, Italy, France, and Ireland. France is having over 1,700 programs that does not require French as a mandatory language, so that they can actually learn these courses in English while learning French on the side. And that is once again targeting Asian students. Over 43,000 Indian students have enrolled in German universities in 2024, which is a 100% increase over the last 5 years. Over 10,000 Indian students are studying in Italy, with a 10% growth every year. And the most preferred courses in Italy are economics and management, along with engineering, architecture, arts and design. Ireland stands out in all this because there were just 800 students, but now there are over 8,000 Indian students in Ireland. This basically means that anyone with the proper legal papers, undergraduate degree, and a lot of money, or who can afford to take a student loan, which could span from over $500,000 or above, can move to Europe or Canada or Australia for studying basically any course you want, wherever you want. It's just that you have to pay all this money. And then what? Well, they basically get stuck there after that. The reality is that all of these immigration policies are driven by acute labor shortages in these European countries, especially countries like Germany. Now, Germany is the fourth largest economy that India might take over very soon. But Germany itself may be facing a deficit of 7 million skilled workers by 2035. And they think that by tapping into the international student talent pool, this gap can be filled. They are targeting the international students who wants to pursue higher education in Europe. For the same reason, Germany's recent Skilled Immigration Act would allow international students to work 20 hours per week, double the previous limit. It's the same thing for most of Europe as well, because in European Union, nearly 63% of small and medium enterprises revealed that they failed to find the required talent. And the two major factors for this labor shortage is the slow replacement rate between existing older and younger workers and long-term underinvestment in key education areas like engineering. But if you take India has a lot of engineers just waiting for a job opportunity. UK, in the post-Brexit point-based immigration system, brought about a scheme called the graduate route scheme, where it allowed international students to stay in the UK and work or look for work at any skill level after completing their studies. It is an unsponsored route which allows students to stay for 2 years and for PhD scholars to stay for 3 years. So all this means that while the European countries want the Indian students to come and invest there for studies, they also would prefer the Indian students to work while studying. That would be very beneficial for their economic growth. But then all these undergraduate and postgraduate individuals in these European countries find themselves in jobs that are way below their skill set or what they actually studied in these universities. And then if you are somebody who wants to completely dedicate and focus your time and effort on your preferred career path on which you actually took this degree, you find yourself becoming unemployed or not being able to find a job in the right time, or finding that it's really difficult to get a job in your career path. So if you are somebody who migrated to any of these Western countries or European countries to advance your career path, then you find that that's not something very easy to do. Rather, you get different jobs or you will have to stay unemployed. Now, I'm not saying this is the case for all the Indian migrants who go there, but a majority of people find themselves in a very tight spot where they are not able to find the jobs that they want. Like, they did an engineering course, but they are not doing a job related to that field, or they are just waiting around doing other work just to survive until they eventually get that job. There are a lot of anecdotal accounts of this, even in our own personal lives, and there are also a lot of anecdotal evidences available online. And this lack of jobs is often attributed to the economic slowdown that's happening in Europe. Even STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics degree holders, much sought after in the post-COVID era, are finding it tough to secure a job as technology and new age companies grapple with layoffs and hiring freezes. Many students, even the ones who have studied at top tier colleges in the US, Singapore, UK, Ireland, France, and other parts of Europe, are either sticking it in desperation or have started looking out for opportunities in other destinations such as Gulf countries or even back home. There is also a greater push for local residents when it comes to job opportunities. The companies are not taking in migrant workers as much as they prefer, and the policy of the state prefers local residents. And it becomes extremely difficult if you are a fresher or trying to make a career change by pursuing a degree from a prestigious institute in the Western countries. High inflation, escalating cost of living, and local unemployment are making it extremely difficult for Indian students to get hired. So there are over 1 million graduates in these European countries, but the jobs are very, very, very less. So where are all these Indian students ending up? Indian students find themselves working in care homes and even being exploited. As students, you are only allowed 20 hours per week of work, but the recruiters actually make them work for longer hours with lesser pay, because the moment they work overtime, their work is not counted legally, so they can do whatever they want. And they usually work for long hours in these care homes. Around 60% of people who moved from the graduate route to skilled worker route in the year ending June 2023 became care or senior care workers. This represents around 26,000 people. Most international students graduate from master's programs in subjects like business, engineering, and computer science. So it is striking to see so many take roles in care, which requires few formal qualifications. So that is the dire situation that Indian students find themselves in. Some people are forced to move out of these European countries and work in Dubai or in the Gulf countries, and some people move back in India to work in Indian cities. And that is an entirely different story, because they can never hope to make the same kind of money they would make in these European countries or in these Gulf countries, just because of the purchasing parity, that is the dollar to rupee conversion rates. And usually jobs are paid less in India. Rishi Sunak had called for withdrawing the graduate route scheme because the administration felt that the Indian students or the migrant students are misusing or exploiting this scheme to stay in UK and work for more. But then they did entire research wherein they found that they don't have any sizable economic damage because of that. So they just let it slide. But then what about the Indian students? Well, they don't care about the Indian students. They just care about their economy, their failing economy. Any way you look at it, the Indian students cannot get out of their situation because they have incurred huge debts to go to these foreign universities and study. It's not like they wouldn't get a cheaper education, but they were promised a glorious future right after they finish the education. So there is a huge debt that they have to pay off. So they will have to continue working, or they will have to find ways to close off these debts. So that way they will have to continue working one way or the other until they do that. So they are basically stuck. And once again, this is not a blanket statement. There are people who do find jobs, and hopefully all of these people will find jobs eventually. But I think that immigration is a scam. because they are inviting all these Indian students without actually offering them the jobs. They are selling a dream that just may not happen. I'm sure that you know family members or you're one of the people who migrated to a European country. What was your experience like? Please let me know in the comment section. Like this video and share it with somebody if you find it interesting. Don't forget to subscribe, and until we meet next time, bye bye. Well, it goes without saying that I don't have a sponsor yet. But not to worry, I will sponsor my own video. More precisely, my book with. This is the first book that I wrote. It's a realistic fiction novel about 4 teens in a city enmeshed in a life of drugs, love, violence and chaos. A tale of isolation and desperation one feels among known strangers in an unknown city. Well, this book is available on Amazon and Flipkart. The links will be in the description. I will also share the link to the video trailer of the book. So check them out.